Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is good. As always, man, preseason week 1 in the books. Now we get to continue down this path of players I love, must-have players. I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to get shares of all these gentlemen in all my drafts and a lot of my keeper and dynasty leagues. I've already loaded up, and I think we're ready to roll with a lot of these guys. These are some of my favorites for the 2024 season. I think they're going to return on investment in a very big way based on their situation and uprising talent. So definitely let's jump in with wasting no time on these quarterbacks. We got CJ Stroud, #1 quarterback for me that I really am getting at based on value, okay? Obviously, your draft board is going to dictate terms on where you draft, who you draft, but these guys are my dudes this year, man. CJ Stroud, overall 51, QB #6, right now, finished 280 points as a quarterback, 11 in 2023. And I mean, going back to last year's NFL draft in 2023, you guys know, you watched all my videos, I had CJ Stroud as the best quarterback coming out of that class, and he definitely proved that he is this guy, man. Added pieces, and as we move forward, this offense is ready to go, man. It's been the constant this offseason for me, seeing all the additions that they have made, adding guys like Stephon Diggs, with Tank Dell coming back from his injury, with Nico Collins, adding a Joe Mixon. I mean, even people seeing from this week 1 preseason that Diggs on the sidelines in the first preseason game, talking to CJ Stroud, many believe Diggs is again being an issue already here in Houston. I think it's all semantics that people are trying to, drum up some kind of drama that isn't necessarily there. To me, it looked like Diggs was just teaching the young quarterback on where he should have the ball placement, and this is all good news. Coming from somebody like Josh Allen having the big success, why not instruct young CJ Stroud to be that much better? I am not kidding. It is a good thing. Coming off that 280 points, like I said, 4,108 yards, 23 TDs. Absolutely, you should be thinking this is an uptick coming. Potentially 4,500 yards, potentially 30 touchdowns passing in this offense that should be extremely highly dynamic, with a defense that should be able to get him the football back on the regular. Top 8 is the floor for me for a CJ Stroud this year, going from QB 11 to 8's not a big stretch, but potential top 5 coming here in 2024. I'm definitely all in on my dude, CJ Stroud. Next one we got is Jordan Love. Feeling love for love. You guys know I've been promoting this all off season long. Overall fantasy player, is number 70, quarterback number 10 on the ADP right now. He finished last season 330 points. He finished as a quarterback 5. Why are y'all hating on Jordan Love? You guys honestly believe a regression is coming, that last year was just some fluke? He sat behind Aaron Rodgers for how many years, learning, understanding, getting taught, and he proved it on the field this last year. What was the MO that I said about Jordan Love last offseason? First 5 games, he was going to come out flying, which he did, and then I said tape would come out on a Jordan Love, then they would pull back a little bit, which again happened, and then he would finish the season off extremely strong, which again did transpire. So with this youthful group, you got to understand, even in all my mocks, I've been drafting a Jordan Love so much because the value is so good, and it's no coincidence his value is supremely high. I mean, many want to jump off this bandwagon, having seen some struggle, but the big plays, who's going to be the #1 wide receiver? That is a lot of it. But the fact remains that everyone's expecting the regression, like I'm saying, from the great campaign. I do not think so, man. Simple matter of fact is that Love is ready to take another leap. Is he going to surpass the quarterback of top 5 quarterbacks? We will see. In a very big way, you can say, again, top 8 QB is very much on the agenda for a Jordan Love. Could he again crack the top 5? It is very possible with how he's playing football. Don't overthink this one. Love is the real deal, and he's going to definitely exceed his value to return on investment for where you can draft him at quarterback 10. He should absolutely exceed all of those expectations. I'm all in. Jordan Love and CJ Stroud as my quarterbacks this season, based on all that value and based on what I think they're going to do this season. Running back time, let's talk SAQUAN Barkley, my guy, man. I love me some SAQUAN, always loved. You followed me for quite some time now. Y'all know I was always a SAQUAN supporter, man. Going back to his days at Penn State, I knew he was something special. And then moving to the Giants, obviously the plethora of injuries has not given us the warm and fuzzies to believe that he can stay healthy, for a prolonged amount of time. But, I mean, he's going to make waves, man, in the city of brotherly love, back in Philly now, back in the state of Penn. You know he's going to be doing the business. He looks rejuvenated. He looks happy. He looks excited. And for a team that runs the football as much as the Eagles do, get ready for a similar ground attack to be the focal point in 2024 with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Smitty. I mean, they're going to still run the football a lot in Philly. What are you guys not seeing? Understanding his ADP is running back 6. It has climbed as the offseason has gone on. 202 points last season, finished as a running back 12, dealt with some injuries again. I get it, man, but it was that MetLife turf that we do not like. Now he's playing elsewhere. I get it. Okay, seeing only 962 yards on 247 carries last year. This year's got to be the resurrection that we're seeing, and do not fear the price tag that comes along with it, because being in this offense with the Philadelphia Eagles, Barkley is definitely once again a top pick for me, and I'm all in on my dude Saquon playing with the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, because Barkley is going to be a good one once again. Next one is Derrick Henry, King Henry. Okay, and I mean, covering Henry on all the past shows that I've done this offseason, you guys know I got all the faith in what Derrick can do and dominate once again in this league this season now with these Baltimore Ravens. Teaming up with Lamar Jackson, the Ravens also have a big-time run-heavy attack, and it feels like they're going back to that situation. Lamar Jackson dropped some weight. He wants to be a little bit more nimble, so you're talking thunder and lightning potential approach with a Lamar Jackson and a King Henry. This team, man, they run the football a lot, man. Having, 520 to 550 rush attempts, over the last 4 years on average is not out of the question once again to go over that 550 mark, especially with a bulldozer like a King Henry. And, I mean, the way the Ravens are built right now, it is going to be heavy ground and pound once again. And it's not out of the question to see Derrick Henry hit career highs in TDs rushed. I'm not even playing with y'all. Even though his price tag has stayed, relatively similar all off season long, his value still seems like it is a bargain that we need to capitalize on. And I mean, I get it, okay? The 30-year-old, tag of fear when it comes to running backs. Time waits for no man. We know eventually that, Henry's going to fall off a cliff, especially with how much punishment he does take when he's running the football. But I'm all in this season. Whatever risk is here is going to be mitigated by the mass amount of points he's going to provide. I love me some King Henry. Draft him once more time for the 2024 season. Get all in. And by the way, from the mocks, depending on where you're sitting, you can double up and get Saquon and King Henry back-to-back to feed your running back room on your fantasy team. It is there for the taking, man. Last running back we got is James Cook, my dude. Buffalo Bills overall 44, running back 15. Finished as the running back 11 last year, and it could have been that much better had he not dropped some of those touchdown passes that were in his grill, and he dropped them. Not good. But it's been rather comical. I'm going to say how many people view the Bills this offseason, seeing Stephon Diggs leave, and, they're saying, can Allen do this? Is he going to struggle? Is this offense going to be what it is? Take it easy, man. You remove Diggs. They were doing a lot better as the season wore on without Diggs being a performer. So I get it. Diggs still was pulling coverage. Now it's going to be a committee approach in the aggregate. Allen's going to force feed who is open. The mantra in the Bills right now is everybody eats. And I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth that I'm excited for this Bills offense with a Kincaid, Shakir, Cook. We got Keon Coleman. You got others like a Samuel. This offense is going to move. It just depends on who's going to have the day each and every week. That's what you're going to have to mitigate when you draft Buffalo Bills wide receivers and tight ends and a running back like James Cook, who is going to have a massive role and approach. They're going to focus on running the football once again. Under Joe Brady, the Bills will continue, like I'm saying, to run the football, and they're going to take whatever the defense gives them from Josh Allen. Cook is a fantastic running back, loaded with that speed, game-breaking ability, but the only issue that we have with a Cook, why he's not higher up ranks right now, is the touchdown upside just was not there last year. What do you have? 4 TDs total, 2 rushing, 2 receiving. However it was, I might be wrong on that. Check me on that. But if it does happen where he does get an influx of TDs this year, being a top 15 running back is absolutely the floor here for a James Cook. Cracking into that top 10 is definitely not out of the question. Even with rookies like Ray Davis, others to potentially steal touches from a Cook, I am not worried whatsoever. He's already a proven commodity from last season that he can be utilized all over the field, and with value to return on investment is massive. He could be a weekly flex play all day without even thinking about it, man. James Cook definitely on my board as a guy that is a must-have, man. Wide receiver time, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You guys just saw in my mock draft on Monday, I bucked the trend of going running back, and I went all wide receivers, 0 running backs, and Amon-Ra is my dude. Overall, number 8, wide receiver, ADP 5, 271 points last year, half PPR. He did finish as the wide receiver 3. Okay, and while I'm saying drafting wide receivers, it doesn't get any easier than taking an Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's be real. The Lions have built this team to make another run at the Super Bowl. They just continue to get better, and one of the major number 1 pieces is an Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it's going to keep moving, man. Yes, the value is extremely high. Likely first-round pick, no question about it. He might not even make it to you to pick number 10. That's how highly coveted he is right now, but the return on investment has always paid dividends with an Amon-Ra. Last year, he was booming in the 90th percentile, y'all, of all fantasy football players, rivaling the likes of a Christian McCaffrey, who was the only 100% boomer that I've seen throughout my time. Amon-Ra definitely booms for you every single week without fail, man. He showed no signs of regression. We saw, even if you watch the wide receiver Netflix series, this man played through massive amounts of injuries, illnesses. This guy's heart is bigger than his body, and he will continue to play. Okay, and like I said, even though I'm a first-round, and potentially second-round running back drafter first, taking Amon-Ra over running back in the first is something I'm definitely ready to do. Another top 5 finish absolutely is on the docket for an Amon-Ra, and I'm all in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mike Evans, next wide receiver, overall 22, wide receiver 13. Finished as a wide receiver 5 last year, okay, and Mike Evans is that type of player that no matter who's throwing him the football, he's able to make plays. Jameis Winston, Tom Brady, Bake Show now. We can trust him in a very big way, having hit 1,000 yards in every single season since entering the league. He is a bona fide Hall of Famer once he retires. There is no question about that. Evans coming off one of his better campaigns as well, if you can believe it, with a Bake Show at quarterback. Okay, some do have questions, and I got some questions. Will a fall-off happen for a Big Mike as well? It could happen, but I don't foresee it this year, man. Rather than later, perhaps, we could see the fall-off, 2025, 2026. We could see that happening, but you know what? I can always admit when I'm wrong. Last year, I faded a Mike Evans, and I regretted it basically immediately. He was balling, he was scoring touchdowns, he was getting yards. And Mike Evans is the staple of consistency when it comes to point productivity. His boom rate did suffer a little bit last year, but he is still one of the top wide receivers that we can get in fantasy football at very good, generous rates, man. He's being greatly disrespected. Top 8 wide receiver value at ADP 13. Sign me up all freaking day long. I'm all in on Big Mike this year once again. Tank Dell, next wide receiver on my board. Overall 55, ADP 29 for wide receivers. He did deal with injury last year, 141.5 points, wide receiver 38. While I'm preaching up a guy like Tank Dell more so in dynasty and keeper leagues than I am in redraft this all-off season, we will see ups and downs for how this ball does get spread around. Having Stephon Diggs added, there's so many mouths to feed, so there will be games where we don't see a Tank Dell. However, it does raise some level of concern. With that said, I'm telling y'all, the efficiency rates for a Tank Dell should be where we are looking. He is going to see fewer targets but lesser coverage because of Nico and a Stephon Diggs. Dell should be the one that's going to be that supreme mismatch all over the field where CJ Stroud is going to find him on the regular with lesser coverage, wide open. We saw it in the preseason game again. Tank found his way back to that end zone, rebuild that confidence from that injury. But let me, be clear about this, man. Nothing is a sure thing. Finding players with greater value, it does come with some level of risk. There is some risk on Tank Dell when it comes to target share, when it comes to risk to re-injury because he is the smaller frame wide receiver. But he's a game breaker, game changer. He makes plays every chance he gets, and more of just a matchup player. He could have days where he is the key number 1 target. Still love the upside. Anywhere from 8 to 15 points per week, he will give you, especially if he finds his way into the end zone. It's going to be efficiency over volume when it comes to Tank Dell, but based on the value of where you can get him, I am all in on a Tank Dell this season without question. Tight end time, Kyle Pitts. He does grace my board once again, and okay. While I completely understand many are done with Kyle Pitts, they want no part of his game anymore, how can you not give him one more shot with a Kirk Cousins throwing him the football? Kirk Cousins no stranger to throwing 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns in this league. Yes, it was with guys like JJ. I get that as well, but Kyle Pitts is loaded with ability, having a cast of pass catchers like a Drake London, like a Mooney. Bijan is there. Pitts could see a season that we always had thought he would have as a generational talent in this league. And I mean, keep in mind, what is he, only 23 years of age? He's still only scratching the surface on what he could become. Telling y'all, man, based on the ADP, where we can snag him, his upside, I mean, for the massive concerns that we do have in his game, there's too much upside. Overall 78, tight end 7. We can absolutely get him way down the board, and he could be a massive riser for us each and every week. But I will say this, if Pitts does fail us once again, I'm going to join the rest of y'all in no longer supporting his services. This is my one last ditch effort because I do believe in what Kirk Cousins can do in spreading the football. Join the belief system and come on over. Kyle Pitts, one more season. Let's go. Must-have players. Last one we got is a Pat Freiermuth. The Muth, you guys know with all my mock drafts, all my videos, I have been super uber promotive of what this man is. I've mentioned him all offseason. The major caveat in this evaluation, however, is going to hedge on if the Steelers do in fact trade for a Brandon Ayuk. This will change everything on how I view a Pat Freiermuth right now. With Ayuk, I will drop the Muth down my ranks just a little bit further because target share will be removed. But without a Brandon Ayuk, man, the Muth is going to be the number 2 target for either a Justin Fields or a Russell Wilson. I mean, having the history of sure hands in the red zone, never dropping a touchdown pass in the red zone. I believe maybe he's got one from last year, but going all the way back to high school through his collegiate career into the NFL, never was dropping any red zone targets. Pat is definitely one of these guys, the up-and-coming tight ends in this league. We see the youth movement happening at the tight end spot. You definitely cannot exclude what Pat Freiermuth is. I mean, we only see his value drop this past year due to injuries he sustained in 2023, not to mention the piss-poor quarterback play we saw last year. The resurgence is absolutely coming. And don't forget, man, he was pegged as the baby Gronk coming out of Penn State, man. So why are you guys fading another baby Gronk? I know that's getting a little bit silly as well as we're comparing all these tight ends to baby Gronk, but he does have all that ability. And I'm telling y'all, man, waiting on tight ends is typical play for me in my fantasy football drafts. But Pat Freiermuth, for where we can get him at overall 119, I'm definitely in. Sign me up all day long. But there you have it. That is 10 players you got to must-have shares of this season. And you can build your team any which way you want. Depending on how your draft board does fall, you might not get all these guys, but I love every ounce of shares that I do get from these gentlemen because they will pay heavy dividends for us this season. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.